Hello everyone and welcome to my cheat code showcase video for Colin McRae Rally on the PS1, a game which I personally played a lot as a kid and spent a lot of time entering all the cheat codes that I'm about to show you. This video is going to be a bit different to my other cheat videos that I did for the first two WRC games, in that I'm actually going to be commentating over these cheat codes, explaining a bit about what they do, if they're worth it in my opinion, and whether you should bother entering them. Although before we do start, I would like to actually say that the mag float cheat will not be included in this video, as I end up showing it off later in the video as part of an Easter egg, so you have that to look forward to. And I just couldn't get it to work through the regular cheat method, so yeah, there's that. But also the pursuit mode cheat, I have no idea what's up with that, since I can't find any footage of it on YouTube or anywhere else on the internet, as a matter of fact. And the method that all these cheat websites I've looked at to enter it, it just doesn't work. So yeah, we're not going to do that. Anyway, on with the video. To enter in all the cheat codes that I'm about to list in this video, all you need to do is go into time trial or single rally, pick any stage or car you'd like, then it will take you to the name selection menu. This is where we'll be entering all the cheats for this video, exactly how they appear on screen. I will be putting the names of all the cheats on the screen as they're being shown off, so you know exactly what to enter. Just to be clear, these cheat codes don't have any spaces in them, and there is no option for lowercase or uppercase, so there's really no excuse for you to fuck them up. So to start things off with the two most basic cheats in the entire game, enter the word open roads into the name selection screen, then press OK, and you should hear this sound.
Cheat mode enabled.
That's the game's way of telling you that you've entered the cheat correctly. As for the open roads cheat itself, well, it unlocks all tracks in the game. Pretty useful, I guess, if you really don't feel like playing championship mode and just want to race all the tracks from the get-go. And I guess in a sense that could be used as sort of like a time saver cheat, if you want to think about it that way. But really, if you're doing a full championship run through of this game anyway, there's really no need to enter it. So yeah, not much else to explain. Unlocks all tracks in the game, that's that, moving on. Continuing on with the second of the most basic cheats in the game, enter Shoeboxes into the name selection screen, and this will unlock all the cars in the game. And by all the cars, I mean the 4 bonus cars that you usually have to unlock through the special stages in the championship mode. Pretty useful, I guess, if you're having trouble with the special stages in the game and just want to unlock the cars it gives you straight away. Only 4 of them there, so you can use the cheat for yourselves and drive them and see how they work for you. Moving on. Getting on with the gameplay altering cheats, enter P-Super into the name selection screen to add fog to any stage that you play until you deactivate it. As you can see, it adds quite a dense layer of fog to the stage, making it really important to listen to your code driver if you hope to get through the stage in one piece. But if you really want a challenge, try driving in cockpit view, that way you can barely see like 3 feet in front of you. Good for a challenge, I guess, not much else other than maybe amusement, and to combine it with the other stage altering cheats that I'm going to mention after this, so let's move on. Enter Night Rider into the name selection menu to be given the ability to drive any stage you want at nighttime. Pretty self-explanatory, and not much else to say other than the fact that if you combine this with the other weather altering cheats that I've already mentioned in this video, you can create some pretty interesting conditions to race in, and also this cheat will be used in an Easter egg which will be shown off later in the video. Enter the code SKCart into the name selection screen to reverse all the tracks. Personally, this is a cheat that I've used to use quite a bit, as it did squeeze a lot of playtime out of it for me as a child, and it is pretty interesting and fun to, you know, try and race the tracks and see if you remember them just as well in reverse as you do going forward. But overall, for me at least, this is just one of those cheats that you would try out of curiosity, or if you were like me a while back and wanted to squeeze as much playtime out of the game as you could, then this cheat is for you. Entering the code more oomph into the name selection screen will give your car greatly increased power. This works really good with the Audi Quattro as I'm demonstrating now, and also you want to make sure before you do that to set your transmission to max speed, otherwise you're going to get really fast acceleration and not much top speed, but that's just my opinion. You might want that, you might not, but anyways, you can combine this cheat with a couple of others that I'm going to mention later in the video to get some really fantastic results. Hopefully, if that's your sort of thing. Anyways, nothing much else to say, moving on. Enter the code White Bunny into the name selection screen and go into cockpit view when you load up a stage to be greeted with the surprise to be able to drive on the right side of the car. So all the English and Australasian drivers like myself who prefer driving on the right side of the road but can never get given the opportunity to do so in the games that you play, this code is for you. Although if you've played racing games for as long as I have, you'll be pretty used to driving on the left side of the car by now, so this code really is only for trivial purposes. But I don't know, you could be more used to driving on the right side, you might not, but either way this is a pretty interesting one to use and one that I think you should definitely try out. But let's not dwell on that too long, let's move on to the next one. This time, try entering backseat into the name selection screen and go into cockpit view next time you enter a stage, and you'll be greeted with the surprise that your co-driver is now driving one-handed for you. This is really one of those cheats that's really just more for the novelty rather than making game-changing aspects. But aside from that, there really isn't much use to using this, so let's not waste any more time and move on to the next one. Type in Forklift into the name selection screen to be given the ability to steer with the rear wheels of the car rather than the front ones. And personally, I hate this cheat because I can never control this goddamn car because as you can see by the gameplay, I'm absolute crap at it. I don't know why, it's just really hard to control for me, but anyways, you might not think so, you might think it's better than the regular handling, but as I said, go out and use it yourself, see how it works for you, because you're not going to see much else here. Anyways, moving on. This time around, try entering trolley into the name selection screen and you'll be able to drive with all four wheels. Now as you can see, I tried this first with one of the two-wheel drive cars in the game and surprisingly it actually gives you quite a lot of grip. So you could use this code for that I guess, and not really much else since I used it with one of the Group B cars in the game, as you'll probably be seeing later on. And I didn't really notice any major handling differences, so yep, so that's that, let's continue. Now getting on with the vehicle altering cheats, enter tinfoiled into the name selection screen, and your car will, according to this cheat's description, will be wrapped in tinfoil. This cheat, as you'll probably already be able to assume, is purely for cosmetic purposes, and to add to the authenticity, if you go into cockpit view, your driver is even a tin man. Well, isn't that something, huh? It's not every day in a rally game you get to see this. But this isn't by any means the craziest thing we're going to see this video. Next up, we're going to see something even crazier. So why don't we continue on to that, shall we? Let's go. Now, for the most craziest cheat in any rally game ever, type in Blantzmange into the name selection screen, go into a stage, and you're a jelly car. Yep, that is a thing. You can cross a multi-kilometer stage in a lime-flavored dessert dish. And to make things even better, go into cockpit view, and you are indeed a jelly man. I have nothing more to add to this other than the fact that I encourage you all greatly, if you play this game, to use this cheat. Trust me, you will not regret it. I know I didn't. Anyway, let's continue. If you want a more unique change of pace to the game, enter Diddy Cars into the name selection screen, then start up a stage, and this will happen.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! One back into two right.
Now the most obvious thing you'll see is that your car is now really small. Hence the reason why most cheat websites list this as the Micro Machines cheat, even though it isn't officially called that. Also, you're given this unique top-down isometric view, which admittedly is kind of hard to control with, but if you race with it long enough, you'll get used to it. But if you don't like any of that, you can still switch to a regular chase view, although cockpit view is disabled. We'll also be returning to this cheat near the end of the video, which isn't too long to go now, as there is a unique glitch you can do with this cheat, so stay tuned for that and let's move on. Now for one of my favorite cheats in the game, enter Hovercraft into the name selection screen, and this will happen upon starting a stage.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Now obviously, as you just saw, your car turns into a hovercraft at the start of the stage, and it does so in a way that I wish cars worked in real life, but hey, technology isn't quite there yet. Now this is my favorite cheat for a couple of reasons, the first of which being that it gives the cars you drive their own separate handling models as well. Your car will pretty much ignore all ground terrains, meaning that you won't slow down if you go into deep snow in Sweden, or if you enter deep gravel in Australia. The second of which being is that it makes for a lot more enjoyable cockpit driving experience. As you can see, because your car moves around a lot and it just feels right. And lastly, if you're cunning enough, you can use this cheat to completely skip some parts of some stages in the game, like this bit near the train tracks in Australia Stage 5. Just be careful on the exit though, otherwise you'll be in a bit of trouble. Now for a more strange, possibly performance altering cheat, enter button bash into the name selection screen, and when you go into a stage you'll have to mash circle and X repeatedly if you want to go anywhere. Now unfortunately I can't really show you much more of how this cheat works, being as that you're going to have to mash X and circle repeatedly obviously, and I can't record that with a game capture. So I might do a video in the future of me racing a few stages with this on, with a camera enabled obviously, but for now I'm giving you my word that I am indeed using this cheat in the gameplay you're seeing right now, and I think it may actually give you a bit more power. But let's not spend too much time on this, we've only got a few more cheats to go, so let's move on with those. Now for one of the next greatest cheats in any rally game ever, enter kit car into the name selection screen, enter a stage, and you'll see a green bar at the bottom of your screen. And if you want to know why it's there, press select and you'll find out. Yep, you can make your car do massive jumps in the air just by pressing select. Now this cheat by itself is great and all, but if you want to make it even better, do this. Without deactivating the kit car cheat, go into the name selection screen and enter Moonwalk. Now select any stage of your choice, I personally recommend Indonesia, and kit car jump again, and go soaring. You can actually manage to jump out of the map if you jump in a few certain places, but unfortunately I couldn't get those to record, and I couldn't replicate them. To be honest, this is probably one of the funnest things you can do in this game. Try it, never stop jumping, never look back.
2 left. 1 right, into long 2 left.
So, now that we got all the cheats out of the way, let's get onto that glitch I was talking about earlier. Enter the Diddy Cars cheat just as we did earlier in this video, go to Australia Stage 5, and drive to this point in the map, just over 2 checkpoints from the end. Then simply drive off to the left like so, and drive straight through this crack in the scenery and the fence lining, and bam, you'll be outside of the map. There's really nothing much to see out here though, unless you're a fan of really weird collision detection once you decide to drive under the stage. But, as I've said many times in this video, try it for yourself, see how it works for you. Let's move on to the Easter eggs. And so, after all that, to wrap things up, we have a couple of Easter eggs left to show you. To activate these, all you need to do is go to the Corsica Special stage and enter Knight Rider as the cheat code, then drive to the left lane of the track if you're not there already. Then all you need to do is reverse and drive down this back road. Your engine and lights will switch off, and this will happen. Now if you're observant enough, you'll see that 10 minutes have been added onto our time, meaning that you can't finish the stage in a decent amount of time anymore. And also that mag float cheat I was talking about at the start of this video will be active for the rest of the stage. Now you can probably see why I wasn't too bothered with showing it off, since it's pretty much just the Blance Man's cheat but without the jelly skins. This Easter egg can also be done on Australia Stage 5 by again entering Knight Rider and driving to this part in the stage. You'll know where it is because you'll see a Jeep parked in front of a back road. And all you need to do is drive past it and down it, and the same thing will happen. As you can see, the exact same things happen, so there's not really much else to explain here. Now before we do finish off this video, I just want to quickly show off just one more cheat here. The Director's Cut cheat, although it claims to be able to customize your replays, all it really does is add like a swoosh effect instead of just jump cutting between the different shots of your car. In fact, I wasn't even planning on showing off this cheat in the first place in this video, but I figured that since I'm doing a complete cheat showcase, I might as well include it anyway, despite how useless this cheat may be. But there is actually another cheat I can show off in this video, but unfortunately my technology doesn't really allow me to do that. Entering silkysmooth into the name selection screen gives you the ability to run stages and time trial at 60 frames per second. Now unfortunately I can't actually show you any gameplay of this in action since my capture card only goes up to 30 FPS, but you'll have to take my word for it in saying that it gets rid of some of the background objects on some stages in order to lessen the memory used and drop the frame rate. One of the countries that this is specifically noticeable in is Indonesia, as quite a lot of trees are removed, in my opinion making it actually better to drive on the stage than it would be otherwise. Once I upgrade my equipment eventually I might show this off in the future, but for now I'll just have to take my word for it. And with that, that's pretty much all the cheats and tricks I can show off in Colin McRae Rally. Thanks for watching all the way through to the end. I do hope you thoroughly enjoyed it. Feel free to click on screen right now to see some of my other Let's Plays, including one of my own that I actually did on Colin McRae Rally at the time of this video a couple of years ago. So you can go do that if you want, or not, it's up to you anyway. But apart from that, have a good day, and happy cheating.